To catch everybody up, we're 8 episodes in at this point, and essentially a lot of people have watched the last few episodes and missed the first few episodes, and as a result feels like I'm just another rogue, and I want to address that. I want to make sure that's not the objective, it's not the point. It's the means to an end. And the end is not winning Mightiest Governor event sculptures. The end is to influence change in the Rise of Kingdoms community so that players like myself that literally work 5 days out of the week traveling, have families, and just busy lives can still enjoy this game. Alright, what's up YouTube? I'm back. So I've been at work all week, and I have been thinking about how things should progress here at 2797, and how not to really mess up what's started here. So I want to take a minute to recap kind of how we got to this point and what the objective is, the real objective, because I feel like there's a lot of unnecessary, what we'll call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and I just want to address it, and I hope that I can help everybody see why we've gotten here. So to catch everybody up, we're 8 episodes in at this point, and essentially a lot of people have watched the last few episodes and missed the first few episodes, and as a result feels like I'm just another rogue, and I want to address that. I want to make sure that's not the objective, it's not the point. It's the means to an end. And the end is not winning Mightiest Governor event sculptures. The end is to influence change in the Rise of Kingdoms community so that players like myself that literally work 5 days out of the week traveling, have families, and just busy lives can still enjoy this game. Because I do. And honestly, since I started the series, I've found that I enjoy this game much more. Perhaps it was the culture that was killing it for me, and now there's this change, and suddenly it's fun again. And so when I get home on the weekends, I am much more inclined to put energy in than I had been. Now granted, I do have a 9-month-old baby, and that's when I took my hiatus. And for those that aren't aware, I was given permission to take said hiatus. It was only after leadership changed, after the KVK ended in a loss, that the new leadership kind of redacted or retracted the permission that was granted. I was told that it would be okay. I didn't participate. They asked that I participate when I could, if I could. I said okay, but ultimately never went to the Lost Kingdom. And after it ended, leadership changed, and they tried to zero me. And over again in the comment section, people say, you can't just try to zero somebody and not expect retaliation. You know, you can't give them permission to miss a KVK and then leadership change and you take that permission away and suddenly act like they're, a terrible, lazy player. Yeah, I exposed it, and then kind of as a punishment, I guess you might say, I retaliated, and I took Mightiest Governor placings 3 times in a row, and could technically continue doing that. But I feel like my power is just a touch higher than what it was when I came to this kingdom in the beginning. I found myself pushing for pre-KVKs in this kingdom on a few different occasions, which is how I even went from 70 to 100 million in the first place, was literally to help the kingdom. And then they wanted that power gone. It's gone now. But I mean, I'm not just going to spend all my time and energy and resources and speed ups boosting power for pre-KVK and then fighting in every KVK up until the last one for you to just change leadership and act like I'm a bad player. And And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm the most badass warrior in the land, because that's not true. But I am a badass warrior when the time comes. I also happen to be the kind of guy that just doesn't mind losing troops quick. So oftentimes where my value comes into play is when I'm on and everybody else is offline and the enemy's trying to push down a flag, I'll teleport right to the front and throw solo troops into that flag, and I'll try to control the field, and I'll hold them off, sometimes losing tons of troops in the process, so that we can buy enough time for the kingdom to get back online and start the assault again. And that's not been uncommon. I remember in KVK2, the kingdom was new. Now, and this is KVK2. They're not experienced. They're 150, 160 days in, with the exception of a few migrants, including myself. And they're trying to launch rallies on flags that don't need rallies. And the reason they think they need rallies is because everybody's a little gun shy to lose some troops. So I just take my 300,000 marches and I swarm the flag. And yeah, I lose troops. Like a lot of troops die in that process. And I lose a few million power. But ultimately took the flag. And that's when the alliance is like, what a Chad. Team Charlie for the win. Way to go. Awesome job. With the exception of a couple people. And the people that disagreed with the approach were the people that were actively trying to boost their kill points. And they were not necessarily the most well-equipped players. They were just the ones that were in control. And that's when kind of red flags started to go off for me. It was pretty early on. I recall having better gear and better commanders in a lot of cases. And the kingdom would still put garrison captains in that they favored over me, which meant that if I filled the flag, I was now taking more losses than necessary so that they could get more kill points easier. And then I realized, like, oh, well, these goals that they've set are easily attained for players that are preferred. And I didn't like that. And so literally anytime that I noticed that we had the ability to have a better garrison captain in, but they chose somebody that had lesser equipment or lower quality commanders to captain the garrison, I would pull my troops, because I'm not playing that game, and I'm not boosting your numbers with my troops. I'm just not going to do it. And so what ends up happening is we go multiple KVKs, and I don't have as many kill points as you might expect me to have, but it's because I'm not playing the same game that you're playing. You're playing a game of boost your stats, get your legendary commander sculptures. It's like this. If you boost your stats by using my troops, if you garrison captain with 50,000 cavalry, and then you expect me to put 210,000 or 300,000 cavalry, T5 cavalry in there so that you can get the points, then you better damn well have the best equipment that's possible you could possibly have. And then before long, I'm going to get discouraged putting 300,000 in there while you have 50,000 and you're getting the benefit of captaining the garrison. Like, there is a true benefit to captaining a garrison. You're going to receive more kill points. You're going to receive less dead troops. You're going to retain power, and you're going to hit your goals faster. And frankly, it's nonsense. So if you want me to sacrifice my troops repeatedly over and over for you, then you need to put out as much as I'm putting out. And I'm sending in 300k cavalry, so I need you to send in 300k cavalry. I need your gear to be better than my gear, or I need to be garrisoning that captaining that garrison. And so I noticed this wasn't happening pretty early on, and so I became, my play times were basically the opposite of the kingdom, and when there was nobody else online but me, that's when I would find my opportunities to launch a rally, and a couple of people in my time zone would join, and we would pursue where we could, or control the field where we could. And my efforts weren't as appreciated because the person that was benefiting was me in that moment. and that's not what they were after. There's more going on here than winning a KVK. I need stats boosted so that at the end of this thing I can brag about how many kill points I got on your troops' lives, and then I can get the Mightiest Governor sculptures for my efforts in KVK. But your efforts aren't yours, man. They're our efforts, and you just happen to be the guy leading the garrison because you knew the king or the council, and I just don't play that game. So anyway, those red flags go off, and that means that I have high deads and low kill points. I ultimately swarm flags, critical moments, all 0 cities given the opportunity in KVK. I remember finding a city that was out of line that I had random teleported to, and I get super lucky with my random teleport to get so close to the city. And I asked the leadership, can I go ahead and 0 this? And they basically said, we need to launch a rally on it. Well, I know my power, I know my commanders, I know my situation. There's no reason to launch a rally on this city unless you just want the kill points, which is precisely what they wanted. So the problem with it was, if you launch the rally, you're going to give the person time to get online and figure this out. Where if I just swarm the city, I'll lose minimal troops because it's a lower power city, and I'm fixing to steal a ton of resources. And instead of being praised for finding and taking out this enemy encampment and getting all these resources to use in battle, I was scolded for, fighting the city solo. Now that was not in 2797, but this is just an example. Like, I random TP and get lucky to land right beside a city that's off of their territory and has millions and millions and millions of resources to steal. And instead of like somebody saying, hell yeah, way to go, good job, take that out, it's like, well, we're a little disgruntled that we weren't the ones that got to do it. That's the kind of stuff I'm not a fan of. So, and that happens in its own way in 2797 all the time. So the real point of what we're doing here is not steal Mightiest Governor event sculptures. And it's not to hurt and negatively affect other players' gameplay. It is simply to influence change in the rock community. And it is obvious to me, and I think vast majority of players that watch this, that we have struck a chord. And there is a lot of people affected by the issues that I'm bringing to light. And any good leadership should take a moment and say, yeah, we didn't realize how big of a deal this was until somebody exposed it in this way. And the only reason this is even working is because I'm documenting every step of the process. If I wasn't able to show everybody how it's progressing and why it's happening the way that it's happening, exposing these issues, then I would just be another rogue. And I don't want that to be the case. That's why it's important that I create these videos, these update videos, where you understand a deeper side of things. So, here we are.